Alright everyone, we start off today with the obvious news. Nobody's really talking about anything else. I suppose the DOJ appealing the special master decision is really the only other thing as far as US users that really is pertinent right now. Queen Elizabeth has died. I saw it live actually. I was monitoring the live BBC last night. I thought about making a video actually when it happened, but by then it was later on in the afternoon. And the baby was, I think, napping at the time, so shh, you can't wake the baby. A little bit more important than, foreign monarch dying. But Elizabeth is dead. Charles is now, he's gone from Prince Charles to his evolved form, his final form, Kingcharles, which some people in the UK will probably like. Some people in the UK probably detest the concept. I would say more stable and cerebral than many of the British royalty diaspora. Here are my thoughts, and link in the description, archived of course, it's just covering the story. It was kind of obvious during the live stream yesterday. It wasn't 20 or 30 minutes before I began that actually we had breaking news that the medical people associated with the crown there in England were worried about her health, and so she was resting comfortably. And I pointed out on the live stream several times, normally that kind of terminology is used for somebody who is already dying. Don't worry, they're resting comfortably. We're flying in the family from all around the world, but don't worry, it's just a minor thing. There were people who expected that she was going to make it. That was not likely, as I pointed out, because of the terminology actually used, and the reluctance, generally speaking, of monarchic functions in the world to give out bad news at all, unless something is really direly wrong. Clearly, there was one BBC commentator the other day, I remember, this was a couple of hours before the announcement, who speculated that it might be she was bedridden from gout. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you wouldn't alert the entire world press and summon the entire family back to Scotland if that were the case. That was clearly not going to be happening. The Queen was either in really bad shape or dying, or possibly, and we may never know this, she may have already been dead when they came out with their initial response and said, look, we're gravely concerned about her condition. It's deteriorating. That was hyperbole by elements of the legacy media, accidentally proven to be true. But they may have been wrong anyway, because she may have already croaked by then. So now you have Charles, who is now the King of England. He'll probably be the last sane one to ever hold that monarchic position. To be clear, my own thoughts about Queen Elizabeth, and no cap for real, I'm not going to make jokes about it, because the people of England are in mourning, so out of deference to my British followers, I won't do that. My own thoughts on monarchy in general aside. Queen Elizabeth was generally one of the more stable monarchs in the world. There really are two kinds when you think about it. There are monarchs that sort of do their state functions. They enjoy, generally, other than that, a quiet life, like Queen Elizabeth. I'd say the Dutch royal family is similar. Give a speech once in a while, go to a fundraiser. They've got a family and shit. They sort of, keep out of the limelight. I'm sure whenever possible, it's never beneficial. And then you have monarchs in the world, and this tends to be especially within some of the oil countries of the Middle East, etc., who flaunt their wealth, and they like to go around in robes and parade and stuff like that. And they like to show off their newest Porsche. They like to show off their new Mercedes-Benz. And Queen Elizabeth was not generally given over to that, other than one thing, which is that she really liked highly decorative hats. Can we get a number on how many she had? It's got to be in the hundreds at the very least. I'm sure there's an entire room in Buckingham Palace, and that's literally all that's there. They'll be raffling them off probably now in order to do something for charity. You watch, it'll probably happen. Now you've got Charles as the King of England, and the Lord Regent of all the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, he's also quite old. He's, I think, 74. And he will be the last of the old wave of monarchs that sort of remember how the world used to be, as opposed to how the world is now under globalism and the sleazebags that run it now, like the Klaus Schwabs of the world, etc., the George Soroses. And so after he dies, long live the king. I suppose the people of the United Kingdom really are praying right now for his good health. after he leaves, you might as well just dissolve the monarchy in England entirely, because there is nobody else there that appears to be reasonably sane, partially because they were brought up in a world that was slowly going insane. Charles would be the last one that, at that time, back in the nifty 50s and the 60s and stuff, when he was younger, was like there was at least some trapping of national civil sort of a pride. There was some trapping of people giving a shit about their own nations, generally speaking, in the developed world. So it's sad that she's dead. She apparently didn't suffer, and it was fairly quick, of course. Only a couple days before, she was meeting with the incoming Prime Minister, Liz Truss, who is WEF, and another sign of the end of an entire era. You've got the rise of a globalist Prime Minister, dedicated globalist. Although she is attempting to unban fracking now, that's a wise decision. And the death of the last sort of World War II era and early post-war monarch that actually I think exists anywhere in the world. So it's definitely a sad day for the British people. Again, I say this as an aside because I oppose monarchy as an American in general, in principle. But, I mean, you could do worse. If you're going to have a queen or a king or some leader that is dynastic in that nature, that is genetically chosen by birth, Queen Elizabeth would be on the top crust of that. And she's getting nothing but praise right now. Nobody dares to criticize her at this specific time. But I will hazard a guess that after a couple of days, you're going to get some leftoids that are complaining about her. Well, the Queen was always bigoted, and here's the top 5 bigoted quotes of the Queen. They'll talk about her Bellamy salute from back when she was a child, back when that did not necessarily, by the way, even have fascist connotations. And they'll bitch about her, say she didn't do enough to be progressive. She reigned over an empire that basically just robbed Africa of all of its gold. They were flying around in floating pyramids before Queen Elizabeth's people arrived. You watch. It will happen. And it'll shake up British politics in the process of it happening too. It'll be very, very interesting. So yeah, Queen Elizabeth has died. Honestly, it's not on my priority list to talk about it all day. But because everyone else is talking about it, I figure, you know, what the hell, give people what they want. I will talk about it more in the live stream. And as far as Charles goes, he's maybe not as remarkable as his mother. But it'll be interesting to see exactly where his reign actually goes. That's about all. Peace out.